OK, let's get straight back to Tokyo now and get more on the news that the head of Tokyo's organising committee has not ruled out a last-minute cancellation of the Games. Geraint Hughes was in that news conference in the last half an hour or so. He joins us live now. Geraint, please put this into context for us on exactly what was said. Are the Olympics really at risk?
They're at risk as they have been for many weeks, many months because of the COVID pandemic. I think if we put into context that the chief executive of Tokyo 2020, Toshiro Muto, was backed into a corner in the question he was asked, but he is not in a position to rule out the possibility of cancelling the Games. Coronavirus, the COVID pandemic throughout the world is unpredictable. There are clearly anxieties and concerns here in Japan. What he did say, to put into context of what was said, was that they regularly review where they are in what's called a five-party meeting. Now, the five-party meeting involves all the key parts, the key elements that organise and put together these Games. So you have the Tokyo 2020 organisers, Toshiro Muto. He is the chief executive of that, along with the chair, the president, Seiko Hashimoto. Then you have the IOC, the International Olympic Committee. You have the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, and you also have the Japanese government as well. Decisions cannot be made on a unilateral basis. They have to be made by all these constituent parties. So Toshiro Muto cannot say whether the Games will go ahead, but he also can't rule out that they will be postponed, because we are in this pandemic of which it's affecting things on a daily basis, not just here in Tokyo but throughout the world. It doesn't come as a surprise to me that he gave the answer he did. He didn't give a firm ruling out. We are just days away from the Games and they will go ahead whatever. They are very cautious here in Tokyo, perhaps more than many other people in recent Games. For example, the culture, the society is different here in Japan as compared with Rio, with Brazil 5 years ago, and with London 2012. So you have to take into context sort of Japanese cultures and the society that they live with as well. Nonetheless, he did utterly refuse to rule it out and said that they will be reviewing if they need to, as I say, with those constituent parties, the IOC, the Japanese government and the local government here, the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, along with the organisers as well. Moving on from that as well now, there are concerns about the athletes' village as well, that there have been 3 positive cases coming out of there with athletes. A number of athletes are going to be going into the village now in the coming days before competition gets underway really in earnest on Saturday. Yes, the football begins tomorrow, but in earnest it gets underway on Saturday. The athletes, they have a voice within the IOC. A former athlete swimmer called Kirsty Coventry, she represents them on what's known as an athletes commission with the IOC. She was asked a direct question today, because she's been into the athletes village. What are the concerns from the athletes who are in the village right now about coronavirus and how safe it is in the athletes village?
I think everyone is doing their best to ensure that it's a safe Games for everyone. The protocols that everyone is going through, and obviously if an athlete or a coach or an entourage member of the team within the village does, after coming into Japan, test positive, then there are actions that are taken straight away to ensure the safety. So yesterday when I was in the village, there was no concern from any athletes that they raised with me. They all were just sharing the excitement that they had and how they wanted to just get on and start competing.
Let's give you some latest figures. We have the official figures in terms of COVID rates. Let's start with people that are coming, that are involved with the Olympic Games. Games-related workers, that includes the athletes as well. 67 positive tests have been revealed today by the organisers. That's 9 more than there were yesterday, but it does include some of the positive tests we brought you yesterday out of the athletes village, the Czech beach volleyball player. So on official figures, another 9, it's 67 in total. And we've not long ago had some of the infection rates from the Japanese population here within Tokyo. It has risen above 1,000 again today. It dipped down yesterday, but for the 4 previous days had been over 1,000. Today, just under 1,400, 1,387 COVID infection rates here in Tokyo as well. So it just adds to sort of the anxieties and concerns, not just for the organisers, but for the Japanese public. It is really a juggling act now, as we are just days away now from the opening ceremony of the Tokyo 2020 Olympics.
It certainly is. Geraint, thank you so much for putting all that into context for us.